What dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil? That's from Hamlet. You might recognize it from the to be or not to be speech. Hamlet's a teenager in the story and he's grappling with death. So, as 3 points in a poem, I want to talk a little bit about that topic, which is hard. Go ahead and give yourself a breath, and I'll introduce myself in case we haven't met. I'm Mary-Laurence Bevington, and I'm a clairvoyant, and I apply tools to my work, such as astrology. So you'll hear me talk about a lot of other things. I'm also a theater artist, so 3 points in a poem tends to come from the world of story, play, such as Shakespeare, etc. So the first point is about big transitions, and we're certainly in one now as a species, as an ecosystem on this creation earth. So give yourself a breath, have a sense of the ground below you, and trust that you are backed by Mother Earth. She is in a beautiful place herself. In many places, her fields are fallow to rest. In many places, she is erupting and flooding, warming and chilling. You know how it goes. So, I want to talk about one of the shifts that's happening, and I'm pulling from the traditions from the Tibetan people. I went to a Tibetan inspired university and I quite care for their traditions. I don't want to appropriate them. I want to honor them and their wisdom that predates Tibetan Buddhism, even. If you go back, the ancients even knew that plate tectonics, for example, was happening through their visions, their transmissions and meditation, and just their sensory awareness. So, in their culture, we are still in year 39, which is the yin wood snake. So, it's got the deep valley of influence from yin energy. It's got the expansive green growing energy of wood, the element. And then it's got the mystery of the snake, the transformation, which can sometimes deepen into the center of water. It may even be a protector of water. And everything has a higher octave and a lower octave in the spiritual traditions. I'm sure there's exceptions to that, but in my experience, that's what I've noticed because we often will learn from the lower octave in our earth school. So, in learning from the lower octave of, say, water, for example, associated with the snake, we might learn about not over clinging or tightening to a point of constraint, a flooding, a freezing. We might learn to expand into the purity of water, the life giving ability of water. And then I want to close this by going back to the quote: "What dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil." So, yes, Hamlet is grappling with, do I want to stay in this body? This body is a place of suffering for me right now because I'm in grief. This is his inner monologue. And of course, it's staged as a soliloquy. So there's this dramatic irony where it's almost as if he's breaking the fourth wall and in dialogue with the audience. As a theater artist, we would call it even a dialogical moment. And the mortal coil really is an older reference to the body itself. But I chose it for this little video because I love how it taps in to this energy that we're also experiencing in these very last moments of the lunar year, the yin wood snake, before we move towards the yang fire horse. And I'll talk about that a little teeny bit and then a little bit more so in the next video. But we are shuffling off this mortal coil of the body that we have had. So a snake will do this. We can also see it, say, in lobsters, for example. In lobsters, they go into a hiding place and they let their old shell go in order to get bigger, and they go into a soft state. It's called a soft shell, and they're phenomenally vulnerable. So, really, again, going back to the snake, as the snake grows, as the lobster grows, as we grow, we shuffle off our mortal coil and we expand into something new. But that transition can be vulnerable. It may include suffering, and we all have ways to support that. The one way I'm going to offer is just counter to the soliloquy as a monologue. If we really think of it as not so much solo, but again, going back to this dialogue where Hamlet is speaking to the audience, as we do when we're in theater, we move our energy out to the audience. They become part of the piece, and that dialogue can create catharsis for the actor, but very much for the audience. They, as the ancient Greeks professed, purge what they once were. That's the catharsis. And they move into a whole new state of being. And yes, come February 17th, and observed in many places on February 18th, we'll move into the yang fire horse, which will be year 40 as opposed to 39, a whole different energy in the exquisite methodology of the Tibetan astrology. And I will note, as many of you are aware, it's really in harmony with the Chinese astrology. They are culturally intertwined, and these ancients came up with such a terrific way to work our lens through time and experience life on earth. Thanks so much for being here. A little call to action. What are you experiencing in these times? How are you doing? Is there something you want to share with others? And you're welcome to just do it in your life world. You can also do it here in this interactive, beloved community. Thanks ever so, and yours in carrying the light.